What up, crew? In this episode, we're going to be diving into the world of boat propellers and seeing how one of the largest 3D printers is changing things up. Trust me, it's going to get interesting. Let's check it out. Joe P. Kirchman here, and today's t-shirt segment is brought to you by the Great Wide Ocean because today we are taking a trip to one of the world's most premium boat propeller companies called Teenbridge, located in the south of England. Now, a traditional way of making a propeller is to take a mold and fill it with sand. One method is by carving out the relief in some soft material like styrofoam. This stuff can get all over the place, but it can work. This is going at actual speed, and it does take a long time, but not nearly compared to 3D printing. You now have the negative form, which is packed with sand, and then filled with a molten metal. We'll get to that in a little bit. To get the positive form of the blade, one of the more modern approaches is to use a CNC machine to carve out a material, usually a wood with a very tight grain. Although this can be quick in regards to carving, a lot of extra material is wasted because it is a subtractive process, like Michelangelo chiseling away at a piece of marble. And because no two trees are the same, just like humans and snowflakes, the pattern is not perfectly repeatable. There's also a lot of painting and coating to give it a smooth finish, but this is extra time and maintenance. Now this is where we step in and see if there's possibly another alternative, like a massive 3D printer. Enter the Big Rep. This can print about 1 cubic meter and has a heated bed and 2 extruders. The nozzle that's not printing will move up so that it won't interfere with the print that's happening. I've been installing and fixing these bad boys for about 3 years now, and I recommend only using PLA filament, but you can experiment with some other types. It uses 2.85mm filament, and it has detectors inside each of the extruders so that the print will pause itself if it runs out of filament. It's definitely a nice feature to have if you're, say, 5 hours into a 4-day print and you just end up printing air for the rest of the time. There's a computer built into the frame, so you can just click on the part that you want to make, or you can go straight from your phone, and you can see how your print's doing wherever you are. I'm using this nice music in the background right now because the fans sound a little like this, and I get sick of that really quick. There's many different nozzle sizes, and it can get some pretty good detail, but there's still some post-processing like sanding and filing that you'd have to do afterwards. Plus, painting never hurts. As anyone with a 3D printer and a headache can tell you, it's all about those first couple layers. They're vitally important on the rest of the print. You want to have them just touching each other when it's melting that plastic down. If the nozzle's up too high, the filament's not going to stick to the surface, and if the nozzle's too low, it's probably going to scratch the surface, and the filament's going to have a difficult time extruding. It's all about getting that Goldilocks zone where the layers just blend into each other, like melted butter. With PLA, I like to keep the temperatures around 209, 210 degrees Celsius. But some like it hot and some like it not, so whatever works for you. I myself prefer a heated bed, and this Kapton tape works really well at insulating. But that's mainly when you're printing large objects. If you're doing something small, then you could just use a cold bed with blue tape. Here's another tip. If you're trying to print, say, 5 objects, it's better to print 1 at a time rather than 5 at the same time. The quality will be a lot better if you print 1 thing at a time. Also, these extruders are usually covered, but we took off the cases just to show you like what's going on underneath. It's simply 1 gear pushing on a bearing and pulling the filament down. It does take quite a while, and one of the longest continuous prints that I did was 5 days. Although this does take some time, it can be more consistent and doesn't waste material, if you know what you're doing and the print doesn't fail. Now, additive manufacturing is not a solution for every problem, but this is a prime example of a process that can benefit from this technology. We only really want to print with about 10 to 20% infill, the small hexagon patterns inside giving it that structure. because we don't want to waste extra material, and it would take a lot longer time if you did it, say, 100% or even 50%. Printing the propeller at this time took about 5 hours to get to this point, but it's looking pretty good. And here's one of the finished products that we're going for. They usually print one blade at a time, so that when they pack the sand around it, it's a lot easier to remove. And I also printed my own propeller on my own personalized Jopi Maker 2. It's basically the exact same thing as a Big Rep, just a little bit more convenient. It also uses the exact same filament of 2.85 millimeters. So now once the sand cast has been made, this is where the heavy metal comes in. They pour in the secret sauce of the molten mixture and it fills in all the empty space. Now I know that the footage that I filmed for you guys isn't that great, so we're gonna have our own little demonstration here of this process. I made these 2 molds out of flour, and we're going to pretend that these are the sand cast, and they would be together like this. And then for our molten material, this is gonna be our mustard. So imagine that it's like coming in super hot, and then boom, it rushes in and fills up all the gaps. Actually, the metal is very similar to the mustard consistency. So now if we wanted to imagine that it's split apart, all of that molten metal is in between those gaps in the sand. See how it tastes. Whoo, that's spicy. Oh God. Now after we let it cool for about a day, we break it apart and we would have our propeller. Now with this propeller, there's still a lot more work to be done because the surface needs to be ground down and polished. Plus they have to bore a hole in the middle of it. But that in its most basic form is how these things are made. I want to give a big shout out to Coleman's 3D Printing Mustard. No, I'm just messing with you. And a big thank you to Teen Bridge Propellers. They actually have a really good detailed description of a better process of this whole video. I'll put that in the link description below. And I found some old-timey kind of corny videos about shipbuilding, but they're actually kind of interesting. Give them a look. Next, a quote. So if we wanted to take it apart, oops.